Hi guys and welcome back to the channel, FPL Pinnacle here. In this video we're going to go through my first draft of the season. Bearing in mind I made this at work as soon as the game came out. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into it. So my first draft, I've spent the full budget of 100 million. I went for a 3-4-3 formation to start. Usually I like to go with 5 midfielders, but I've gone with 3 attackers this time. Going into game week 1, I'd imagine I will have 5 midfielders. They just have so much more upside compared to the forwards, with an extra point for a goal, extra point for clean sheet. And we know the way football is played, midfielders are sometimes attackers themselves. So let's get straight into it with the defenders. I've gone for Sanchez in goal. I think the Chelsea goalkeepers, all of them at 4.5, are a really good pick. And Sanchez is the one that's been pipped to start. Ignore the Man City game in the first game week. They've got Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton and Nottingham Forest the weeks after. I'm not one for expensive goalkeepers. I prefer to start with a 4.5. If we hear news that Sanchez isn't the favourite to start next season, then we can just change because they're all the same price. Who knows with Chelsea, but surely they can't be as bad as last season. There's a new manager at the helm, so we could see improvements. I think a 4.5 way into the Chelsea defence is good, as Gusto has risen to 5 million and Reece James, well, you just never know. I usually try to pair my first choice goalkeeper with a 4 million option. Turner's really the only one that got any playing time last year. He had about 17 starts. I think Flecken might be a popular pick with Palace and Southampton in the first 5. But they're paired with Liverpool, Man City and Tottenham. Udogi's my next pick, but this one's not locked in. Tottenham had a great start to last season defensively, but will they again? Van der Ven could be an option at 4.5. He's a lot cheaper. Porro is 0.5 million more expensive this season, so I don't know if I'll be able to go for him. I've gone with 2 defenders at 4.5. Aston Villa's Konsa and Everton's Mykolenko. Konsa's a sure thing in the Aston Villa defence. And apart from Arsenal in game week 2, they've got some pretty nice opening fixtures. Mykolenko's the same. Everton have a great start to the season, and they were really good defensively last year. With the rises elsewhere in the Everton defence, I think Mykolenko is a good way in. I've splashed the cash on Trent. He's 7 million this year, seeing a price fall. Seeing their fixtures, I'm almost certain he'll be in my game week 1 team. They've got Ipswich away, Brentford second game week, Forest, Bournemouth and Wolves in the next 4. He only started 25 games last year and got 122 points, which is by far his worst season in about 6 years. We know what he can do, and I'm banking on him getting back to those dizzy heights. I'd be reluctant to, but if I'm stuck for funds, I can just take him out and put Guardiola or one of the Arsenal boys in. Got the Southampton fullback Taylor Harwood-Bellis on the bench, as his price tag allows you to spread your funds elsewhere. Let's check out the midfield. So I've gone Salah for the same reason as I've gone with Trent. Their start to the season is really nice. And we all know what Salah's done in previous seasons. Great captaincy option, playing Ipswich in the first game. I'm really hoping Nkunku stays in my team for game week 1. He's a really exciting player, and I hope he can perform like he did when he was in Germany a couple of years ago. I know his injury setbacks last year weren't his fault, but it's yet to be seen whether he can hold down a starting spot. Same as Sanchez, ignore Man City in the first game week. They've got some really nice fixtures afterwards. Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest. Eze's another exciting one. He could be an absolute beast if he stays fit. And with Elise going, most of the attack I'd imagine is going to go through him. I'm almost certain he'll be on penalties as well. And at 7 million, I think it's a great price. To pair up with Konsa, I've gone with Leon Bailey. He had a really good end to the season last year. He scored 10 goals and got 11 assists across the whole season, amassing 148 points. There's plenty more 6.5 million options in midfield. If you want to see me go through them, comment down below and I'll set up a video. There's no basis behind the Janelt pick. I had 5 million left, and he's guaranteed to play 90 minutes for Brentford every week. I suppose if I want 90 minutes, I could go for Harry Winks at 4.5 million. He's just come up with Leicester. and he's got Premier League experience. Let's move on to the attackers. That's right, I've gone Haaland as well. 2 premiums, Salah and Haaland. He's the most expensive player in FPL history at 15 million. City have a really nice run at the start of the season, and he's been top goal scorer the past 2 seasons. He's also one of the best captain options in the game, and I'd definitely captain him against Ipswich in game week 2 if I had him. Despite all this, I'm not sure I want him. It's a great move in my opinion for FPL to price him so highly, but will the price rise steer enough people away from him to make him a viable differential? I'm not so sure. If you want to see a no Haaland draft, let me know down in the comments. Staying on Haaland, he didn't go to the Euros, so he should have been well rested over the summer, coming back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. In all honesty, I would like to see a season where you don't have to have Haaland to get a good rank. Moving on to probably my favourite player in the whole draft, Alexander Isak. He's a dead cert for me, I think, number 1 pick. I can't see myself going without him, but at the time of recording, his ownership's over 50%, so I think a lot of people agree with me. He scored 21 goals last season and got 172 points. I think he's almost guaranteed to take penalties, and he's locked down the first team striker slot ahead of Wilson for Newcastle. Brighton don't have the easiest start to the season, but Pedro's price at 5.5 just allows you to spend your budget elsewhere. Another penalty taker if he plays. I don't know much about Brighton's manager. Is João Pedro in favour? He's not a lock for me. But having the 2 most expensive players in the game, you've got to pinch your pennies and find them somewhere. The one negative I can see is that there's no Arsenal. I mean, they've been fighting Man City for the Premier League title for the past few years, and they do have some great assets themselves. Saka, Odegaard, Havertz, and the best defence last year. But with Trent, I really can't afford anyone from Arsenal. So, that's the first team. Like I said, I put it together at work as soon as the game came out, so I couldn't spend more than 5 minutes on it. I'm sure there'll be plenty more variations up until the Game Week 1 deadline. So, that's the team. Let me know what you think. Is it just basic template? Or am I an absolute rogue? I think probably the first. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. There'll be plenty more content to come up until the start of the season and all the way throughout. Catch you in a bit.